Well, good evening, everyone. It is 7 p.m. Eastern Time, and that means you are right here with Paranormally Blonde. Hey, Rob.
Hi, Sarah.
Did our guest happen to message or no?
Oh yeah, he messaged. So that they're under the wrong time zone assumption. I told him it was crystal clear in the banner, and
It happens. That's
it
what
happens.
happens.
That's
It
what
does happen.
happens when you live in a terrible time zone versus a proper time
Yeah.
zone. So that all the
Yeah.
viewers that are watching right now, we're gonna recover. We're gonna make this happen.
Oh, yeah.
We did not get punked.
No, I didn't think we were punked.
No, I know. This
No.
was though an eyebrow raiser.
Yeah, well, and we'll get into that a little bit, but not much because it's the least important part of actually the entire conversation. So we're gonna go into it's just time to bring shows back to oh, are you watching it from the port? So there, okay, so let's go into this.
Yeah,
But
StreamYard's changed.
yeah, but so it sets it up for you now in StreamYard that you can do portrait and do landscape. Some of it's for phone watching, right? Certain device watching, and then obviously if you're watching it on your laptop. So when you set up the show, it creates for YouTube two different settings. So Stacy clicked on, I think, the first one for the show. So Stacy, if you click on the other live, there should be two lives there to click.
I didn't realize that. I thought it would just do it automatically.
No, it doesn't.
No?
No. And I do believe, actually, if you look at the description, you'll see on YouTube one will show you the little phone.
Yeah, and in his comment, it shows a little icon that shows he's in portrait mode.
Yeah, he's in portrait mode. So that's supposed to be this whole crazy new thing with, yeah, I don't even know. But anyways, we're gonna have a really great conversation tonight. Hopefully adding our guest to this.
Yeah, we'll make it happen.
Yeah, and I have a feeling possibly that's why we're seeing some names that we're seeing on here.
Yeah, we got some new eyeballs on us.
Yeah.
And they're talking. Sometimes the new eyes don't talk.
Yeah.
But that's what happens. But wow, 36 people watching. Yeah, there's some
They bring some
eyebrows raised today. We'll talk about that in a minute.
Yeah, we will.
So yes, we will. So why don't you? I'm not telling you what to do because you're the boss of the show.
Yeah. Well, supposedly, I don't know. Well,
so I just want to inform everyone, Sarah's a little cranky with me today.
They're like, when is she not? When is she not? Right? No. But yeah, so since we have some new names here, I'm going to just introduce us. I am Sarah, Paranormally Blonde, and also Get Haunted. And right next to me is Rob Stakowitz of Get Haunted, the founder and creator of Get Haunted. And then I came in and sort of busted my way through that door and also helped.
I can throw my full name out there. You trying to get in trouble?
Well, I think
what happened to our name badges? That's all gone.
Oh, yeah, I don't even know. I don't know. But so if you don't know who we are, we do run Get Haunted, which is a paranormal network first and foremost. We do events, public events that is an opportunity for us to come into real world and connect with each of you. We do merchandise, we do collabs, we have a podcast program, we have all sorts of fun things in the network. But really, the main purpose in my mind of Get Haunted is connecting the community through conversations. That's what we're doing. Oh, it's Patrick Doyle. Yeah. I don't know, Patrick, you're showing up. So yeah, that's who we are. If you don't know who we are, we do hold events pretty much up and down the East Coast, and also sort of bleed into the Midwest a little bit, but you're going to see Get Haunted Midwest is run by our dear friend Chris Smith, had just his second event this past weekend at Broadwell Funeral Home in Defiance, Ohio. And he said it was insane, apparently.
He said it was very good. He said, yes. Is that Chris or is that Patrick Doyle?
Oh no, that's Chris.
Yeah. I think that's Chris.
Chris.
Anyway, all right. So yeah, look, we lost half the audience already.
Oh, they popped out of the, because you know why? Because they don't see the guest yet, so they're
They
gonna
don't
have,
see the guest.
yeah.
Neither do we.
No, we don't. But they're coming, right?
I said you're fired.
I'm fired.
Not you, him.
Oh,
And then I said it's on. He said we thought 7 Central. I'm like, yeah, well, it's on the banner. Eastern. Sarah said it in the chat. You're fired.
well, it's gonna be, once they get on, I promise you're gonna fall in love with what we're going to be talking about tonight, because we certainly did, and are excited to lift that that particular location. But yeah, so it is Monday. We are down to our last 2 events for Get Haunted for 2025. We have Mid Orange, which this is this weekend. That is in Warwick, New York. That is a collaboration between Get Haunted, Paranormal Cares, also Ghost Hunter Store, and psychic medium Bianca Rose, plus amazing other people, teams, Two Brothers Extreme. We have Paranormal Theory coming in for Terror Time. We have Get Batty with Brittany. I mean, we have so many amazing people showing
Eric
up.
Testerman coming with his haunted.
Eric Testerman coming in with his haunted. I almost said his haunted equipment, but it's not equipment. It's his collection. It's his collection. There's Franki.
Oh,
Should we add him? Because that's what everybody's wanting to see.
I guess. I mean, listen. Here's what I'm going to say.
Yeah.
Before we bring him up.
Yeah.
You know, with all the raised eyebrows.
Yeah.
The history. This should be
Smiling.
a testament to the type of person I am.
Such an ass. I love, you know what? He's back there smiling. He's just smiling. And
I will always choose to be better than everybody else.
Oh God.
Oh God.
Yeah.
He's ready.
Well,
we got a thumb up there.
Yeah, you know what? No, I think thumbing up your statement. I think that's
or that. I don't know. He knocked his mic over. He's a mess. He's a mess. This is what happens in the show me state, which, you know, I'm allowed back in. And so are you, by the way.
Well, yeah. Look at there he is, everybody. It's Franki.
What's going on? What's going on?
Franki Cheech, right here.
Right. It's okay. It's okay. This Eastern time. I know how much you love the East Coast. We're on the Eastern time zone. You were just out here, by the way, and didn't let any of us know to come visit you in Tarrytown, New York.
I love Tarrytown. It's one of my favorite places in America.
Half brother used to live there, I think. Anyway, everybody, welcome Franki Cambeletta from Haunted Garage.
What was that?
Some sort of sound effect.
I have my
yeah, we've got that now.
Yeah.
But Sarah, were you done saying hello to everybody? I saw Mike Castro in the audience.
I didn't even get a chance to, but you know.
Oh, I'm sorry, it's your show. You can take it back over.
Oh, okay. Well, we are going to say hello because that's what we do. That's what we do, Franki. That's what we do, Franki, before we get talking, because we've got some fun things to talk about with you tonight. And who maybe would have thought that Franki would be sitting on Paranormally Blonde? I am honored. I am truly honored, actually, that Franki is here talking with us tonight, and you guys are going to love him as much as we do. But before we get started with that, let's say hello to everybody. We have Professor T, Stacy Talich in the house.
Stace.
Hey, Stace. I hope you're doing fine and fantastic. You haven't checked on me for a while. I don't know if he's mad at me or.
He's not mad. He's busy.
Okay. Well, Professor T.
What's going on?
I'm good. There is Candy Slater from the Ashes Paranormal, also the Haunted Rock Island Roadhouse, and also the Esoteric Expo, as we all know. We have Kaylee right here with us. Her pictures were beautiful, Rob, by the way.
Yep.
I did see those.
It was a great job.
She did a beautiful job. Great job. There is Icy Spirits. There she is. Hi, everybody. I've missed Icy. This is Chris, of course. Hello, Chris. We got you. We got Mark Brown, Deep Roots Paranormal. We have Patrick Doyle. I don't know who this is, Franki. I don't know if some of these people
actual bacon.
Your people that came in, we had before you came, it was
Sandra.
like 36 people, and then I think they didn't see you.
Oh, here I am.
It's here now. Richard listens.
I don't know if it's Tammy Ham. Someone watch yourself. Missouri is in the house. Truth. Yeah, those names look familiar. I was never the guy that was on the show that we did, and like, I mean, we had a person that did like all the hellos and stuff.
Shay.
But yeah, I mean, I hope people are coming out to see what we got cooking.
Yeah,
because this is like, we're trying to move in a more positive direction here. So I mean,
yeah, thank you for that. There's Stephen Kometz. Well, I'm excited, honestly, to share space with you this evening, Frankie, for many reasons. There's Mike Castro is here, and we haven't seen for a while. Mr. Ryan Schrader, CNR Paranormal. We have Sandy as well here. We have Chris Cash, the other part of CNR Paranormal here. Jason McGray, Canada, coming in strong. Brittany, Get Batty with Brittany's here. Hello to you. You saw, we have Sheila here. Everybody's got to behave. We do have Sheila here.
She's my enforcer. Sheila's my guardian angel.
She Bolger. Is. There's Tom Bolger. There's Tammy Ham. Hi, sweetheart. How are you? Haven't seen Cameron in a long time. So we're excited to have Frankie here for a couple reasons. And I don't know, like, how do you guys want to get started in this conversation? Because like you said, Rob, you had some eyebrows were raised.
Yeah, there were eyebrows that went up. Look, it's probably not a secret to most. Frankie and I don't have the most loving relationship, but we didn't start out that way.
It wasn't our fault, actually. It was the middleman that basically breathed lies about you, and basically I'm a little smarter than he is and figured it out. Like, I don't think this is how this went down, bud. Like,
okay. We can pin it on him if you want. But Frankie and I went. We just didn't. We had a rough start for a few months there, and we finally got to talk one day, and we talked, and I think that's the way almost every conflict that I've been able to resolve has been resolved, just by talking, right? Social media is not a place to hash shit out. I didn't want to talk to Frankie when I first talked to him. I don't think he wanted to talk to me, but we ended up talking. Some things started making sense on both sides.
Hey, Rob didn't talk. Wait.
Yeah, and I got to know him a little bit better, right? And here we are. A bunch of different things had gone down, but at the end of the day, there's a location that's in need of some help, right? Or some assistance and support from the community. And Sarah and I were able to take a call with Mandy and Frankie, and the location sounds amazing, but Mandy was also just as, if not more amazing, right? Mm-hmm. It was a really good call. Mm-hmm. And at the end of the day, that's truly what most of us, I believe, are all about, is trying to help keep the doors open on these different at these different sites and locations. And we Frankie and I had buried the hatchet there a while back. This came up afterwards. So here we are. That's where we're at today. Still, there's a 7 p.m. Eastern time zone confusion. So we'll figure it out. If Mandy jumps on, it's great. If not, Frankie knows the place really, really well.
They should be en route. They should be here by 6:30 because we were going to do some pre-trek gremlins. But because we had interviewed one of our new third chairs, we had our studio already set up. So it was easier for me to I had already worked out the kinks yesterday on Sunday when we interviewed one of our third chairs for Haunted Garage. So, and she did great. She got the job. So we're excited to bring her on and to do some very fun episodes with her in the future. But yeah, I think that there was an interesting tie-in to all this, and like, I always tell people, like, when you're our age, Gen X, right? When you're Gen X, some of the closest friends you probably still have are the ones you either fought in the playground or didn't like each other at first, and then you became, very close.
Mhm.
And I think that was kind of where I think me and Rob kind of fell off on just looking at everything from the fine tooth. Angelina Rivera too was one of those people too that kind of helped with that as well. So I think that that is behind us, and that what we're trying to do is do things right for historic properties. And we were just caught in a situation where the money that was brought in is just not going to cut it to save that, to save the area. To gatekeep one location is a very terrible idea. You have to open it up to other teams. You have to bring new influences in there, and so that's one of the reasons why I reached out to you guys when I was given the call from Ben and Mandy that they wanted me to help them coordinate and be their events director for this year. The events, as you guys know, are exhausting, and I'm sure your people that have gone and done ghost hunts and have worked on your team know how much time goes into them, the planning, the money, the changing of hands, the changing of the guard, the drama that comes with team dynamics. All those types of logistics are hard to filter out. And so for me and Jeremy to kind of step back now and look at it like, okay, well, I really like what Get Haunted did with Rock Island. I really like what Apex does with Glore. Looking at different teams to come in and run events is just huge for the property, because it gives you a taste of the Northeast. It gives you a taste of, the Western side of Missouri, and how every team can give you more information about how to ghost hunt, how to new tools, new people, new friends. And that's what it's about. I'll never believe in para-unity. It's just, we just have too many differing opinions, but I will believe in para-community. And if we can come together, I think that's what it's really about. I mean, for us, me and Jeremy are totally pro bono for Emmaus. We're not making any money this year. We're really trying to salvage this property, get the roof on. And I think with, your connections, our connections here, it's a good bridge to cross. I believe it's a good time to do that. We've just seen how powerful you guys can be at your events and what you've been able to do. I mean, I know I'm known in some of your circles. I'm just a podcaster, but I'm just a good one. But I had to carry the weight of people, and I'm like, I need my team. I need to get back and get with people that know how to podcast, and so that's why we've kind of put together the Haunted Garage Reloaded, which is basically going to have three very unique personalities coming at it from all sides.
Well, look, I mean, back to everything you were saying, it's true. Variety, right? It's the spice of life. So yeah, I never understood. I've talked to Sarah a lot about this. Why some locations will only let one or two certain teams in, right? To me, it stifles growth. To me, it doesn't look good. It just looks weird. I understand consistency from a management standpoint, but you can still manage and take a step back and let someone else come in, on any given weekend. The truth is, I wish there was a rule book or a set of standards for locations that they could follow, or at least look at and be like, okay, it makes sense to work this way. But I did, I appreciate the fact that we were able to get through it all. Because there was a point where I wasn't sure we would ever, but yeah, at the end of the day, yeah. So Talik, he's a car guy. He restores all that. Well, sorry, Sarah, I'm the producer. Okay, quit gatekeeping me, Sarah.
Yeah, big car guy. That's actually how we started. We were a very unique team that investigated haunted transportation. So from trains, planes, automobiles, buses, railways, abandoned roads, abandoned ghost towns, anything that had to do with transportation, we were kind of that fix. And in St. Louis, we're semi-public figures for the paranormal. We do all the news shows. We have good representation with our PR rep here, and so we were able to kind of build those bridges within the haunted community of garages. But the thing too is that I think that, like, not to dwell on Gen X is, we're a type of people that, like, I'm the type of person that was raised, if I did someone a solid, it's more of like, hey, we're friends, right? If I did something wrong, I'll be the first person to own it and redact. And for me, when that circumstance happened, it was more about like just owning where you're wrong and setting the record straight. Because I think that too many times today we have so many people in this field, especially this field, that won't back down. They just stand on sand, and when the rains come, they wash away because there's really no validity to what you're saying.
Yeah.
And that's the problem that we had with, a past partner of ours, is because there's just no validity there. What we're trying to build is not in alliance with that. So, when you take places like Emmaus Asylum, which you've seen some drone shots of it, you've seen these big, massive buildings. I mean, this is Missouri's Waverly, right? This is the first mental institution in Missouri, 1926, right? Asylum. This is going to match what Pennhurst was doing, right? So Pennhurst has the same exact name. The Emmaus Asylum was for the feeble-minded and epileptics. It's exactly the same name as Pennhurst. Now, the same things that happened in Pennhurst didn't necessarily happen here. We do have a lot of malpractice because, let's face it, in 1956, we really didn't know what we were doing with mental illness. We had ideas, but as you can see today, most of the methods don't work anymore. We don't use those, and it's more on the side of torture than anything. And so you get that at Emmaus. You get those heaviness. You get the feelings of the heaviness that's still there, that still remains. And being a new location to ghost hunters, my idea from a marketing standpoint, because that's kind of where I sit. That's why me and Castro, I've always respected Castro for the work that he's put out in graphic design, and never really,
He doesn't have to get shout outs every show. Okay. Castro's okay. I made him.
You might have good dialogue. I mean, every now and then I'll get a text from him, so I appreciate that. And so, but like, that's part of what I was doing and building for, the old team that I was with. I built the brand, I built the audience, built the public, the subscribers, because that's what I do normally. And when you look at what fell on the wayside while we were doing all that, is that Emmaus didn't get the attention it needed. We needed to focus on Emmaus, and we were running events in like Randolph County, which is great, and MSP, which is phenomenal, but we were allegedly gatekeeping Emmaus, and we weren't doing anything with the property. Like, we had a month that we could have run events, or other teams could have run events where the property made money, and we were somewhere else. And I just didn't understand what that dynamic was. This idea of gatekeeping is just not a good idea. I mean, Adam Kimmel did say that. He had a huge podcast about it. I disagree with him at first, but now having gone through that, he's another guy in the Midwest, if you don't know who he is. And I do now side with that on the side that, when you gatekeep, you're not only keeping out other teams, but you're keeping out other people's experiences. What they could experience at Emmaus, what they can find out, what is going to reach out to those certain people. There are sensitive levels of people of all strengths inside the paranormal, and not letting those certain people in, I think, is just it's a misstep, and it's something that I quickly corrected when we were made director of events. We were like, "Yep, that's gone. No gatekeeping. Let's bring as many teams that want to do stuff, and with validity, right?" So we're definitely just not going to let everybody come in. They have to have some experience with running events too. We want to make sure that they're given the right guides. That Emmaus owners have their own. They don't want their stuff to be cleared. They don't want their ghosts to be transitioned. Mm-hmm. They're trying to figure out what's going on there first. And then if they get into those types of dialogue with spirits and they do want to transition, then we definitely will bring in the right people to do that. But I think too many times you have people coming in there and they're coming in from all walks of life and like, oh, I'm going to clear this. I'm going to get rid of all these spirits. And I'm like, yeah, no one asked for that. It's also that, and then dealing with multiple personalities that you have in this industry, from the large egos, from the the space cowboys that have basically been on every TV show, to the more modest mice that are more about the history, more about the strength that it holds and the foundations that it holds to.
Yeah, I'll wreck the other half of your van, Tom. He's got one running board left. I got to get rid of that one too.
Hey, if it starts when you turn the key, that's a great sign.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, that was a close call, but that's a whole different show. Yeah, Sarah.
Yeah.
You look like you were going to say something. I feel like I cut you off.
No.
Okay. Never mind. Yeah, listen, just the short conversation we had with Mandy and learning about the property and its origins and not only what it means to Missouri's history, but to Mandy. And there's some parts, and and I'm not going to say too much until she gets here, but there are parts of her story that she shared about the property that really resonated with me. I just thought it was awesome. So it's a cool place. Everybody knows, no secret. MSP is like, that's my second home. Like, that's my other family out there in Missouri. So maybe one day when I'm back out in Missouri, I get to see Emmaus as well. I know initially with it was, there was a little skirmish, and then I guess we almost patched things up. Dan had invited me to come out with you guys to Emmaus last year, I want to say. I didn't go. So I'm like, I ain't going by myself with these crazy ass people. But yeah. Now I kind of wish I went, but it looks like an amazing location. Yeah, man. So I'm hoping that, one day next year I get to get a glimpse of what it's like there. We got Sarah still needs to get her ass to Missouri at some point. She's been unable to attend
the last two at MSP.
Yeah, the last two MSP events.
MSP is phenomenal. I mean, Jenny and Sheila over there are just awesome. I mean, I keep them, and I consider them good friends. I mean, I've done a couple events with them with the the team that I was a part of. I guess team that I still kind of own, but I don't know how that's going to go. But they are just a prime example of how to run events, how to run them right, and then opening it up and looking at how much money like MSP does. I don't know if you've ever looked at their reports on how much they bring in with ghost hunts. It's unbelievable the money that Emmaus could raise and get and to really restore the buildings and the roofs and stuff like that. So if done appropriately, if done right, if done with people that have the property in mind and not their pockets, I think that is where I'm leading the team, which is why me and Jeremy decided to do it pro bono. I mean, we don't want to take any money from the property. We're doing this, reaching out to our friends, our new friends, our old friends, and saying, hey, like, help us promote this. What are the best ways to help us get people here? Because I guarantee you, once you do ghost hunt the place, it will become a bucket list. You will want to come back.
Yeah, one thing I can say with certainty is Sheila, Jenny, pretty much that entire staff, everybody I've known along the way would do anything for MSP, and they would fight to the death for that property. I always look at it as Sheila's baby. I know it's Jenny's baby too. They all are very, very protective of that location, and for good reason. It's just it's amazing. It's an amazing place.
They run a very clean operation, and I've always enjoyed my time there. It's just it's a great example of what can be done in Missouri specifically with these locations that a lot of people don't know about the hardships that Missouri has faced. I mean, I saw my boy Zach joined, and he's privy to a lot of this stuff. I mean, Zach was able to ghost hunt Mineral Springs and Alton, and Mineral Springs was one of our key players, and it's gone. Can't ghost hunt that anymore. Real estate developers came in, bought the building, they said absolutely not. We're not doing ghost hunts. And so then you have people like places like Misty Manor, which were just terrible. I mean, the people that owned the property had gone away on vacation. There were urban explorers that broke in. They left the water running upstairs as a joke. Well, didn't realize that the owners were gone for a week. By the time they had gone down, the entire house was flooded. It was over. And we had lost a piece of history like that overnight. Oh, hey, what's up, Leanne?
Wait, when were you there?
So we did the Bell Witch. We do a man trip every year. And yeah, and it's very true. The sub basement in Mineral Springs is one of the most active spots probably in America. It's very, very heavy. So we did Bell Witch in 2024, I believe. And it was a funny story. It's Black Wolf. They actually just had an announcement today that they're opening it up to public teams too.
Yeah, I saw it.
Yeah, if you've never done Bell Witch, I mean, that place is unbelievable.
No, and we're good friends with Todd and Leanne, and we still haven't done it. Soon, next year, we'll be down there.
It's insane. And we got so much activity from there. And we had a funny story. We were with, we had done the Haunted Theater in Savannah with a tour team that was basically giving us a tour, and then you were able to ghost hunt. It was really fun. And then those people actually were at Bell Witch the same weekend we were on just their own, just ghost hunting. I'm like, oh shit, look what was here. And so it was a really cool meeting. And they just run a great outfit too. The way, I mean, they did Waverly for a year too, so they really understood the mechanics of how to run investigations. And
yeah, we co-host with Todd, Leanne, Denise, Ernie every now and then. Be back down there next year in May. Yeah. So yeah, it is sad to watch these properties get scooped up and disappear, right? And part of the solution there is to get the community working together, sharing together, and trying to bring the money in. And that was for us. You saw Sarah's passion and everything she put into Rock Island truly paid off in the end. It was about a year of really, really hard work on her end, to try to get the community working together and bringing all these people in and through that building. And in the end, it was a bigger success than I ever anticipated. What about you, Sarah?
Oh yeah, I think just to watch the community come together, it's but I want to touch on.
You're frozen.
On one thing, listening to you guys. Tell me when I'm back. Am I back?
You're back. Michigan.
Okay, I'm back. All right. So there is something that I wanted to touch on, though, listening to you guys talk. I think, and it's one thing that I've really appreciated, getting to know, hey, Denise, getting to know Franki in this little, the way we got to know him, maybe not my favorite way of meeting someone. However, what I've appreciated about this entire thing is, Franki really didn't, in my opinion, you didn't really spend a lot of time on the bullshit part that social media brings into the paranormal, and you immediately brought the conversation back to the paranormal. And I think this is what we're missing in this field, and why so many locations are suffering, because we are taking it away from what is actually important, right? It's not, and I know we don't agree necessarily on theory, and we don't have to. But I love that, if you, like you said, you have to allow everybody their moment to have their experience and to get the word out there. And if we're going to shit talk each other constantly and have these weird made up wars because of territory or who you like or who you don't like and all this other stuff, right? Then it's these locations that suffer. So to be able to be the adult and step in and say, okay, you know what, we got to have this conversation and clear this shit up. And you went right into, okay, can you guys meet with Mandy, because we got this great location and it needs help. And I think that's huge. I think that's huge for this community itself. Needs to see that as an example and follow your lead, in my opinion. That's just my opinion.
I've made a lot of mistakes. I mean, I'm the first person to admit I've made mistakes. But that's what happens when you trust individuals that bring you research and that they vetted their research. And when you're too trusting with that, normally I always look at the research and be like, yeah, let me go back over this. And I've since gone back to my ways where, there was this time in my life where I was like, Frank, you got to delegate. You got to delegate. You're just doing too much. You got to delegate. And the minute I frickin' delegate, 2 in a row, like GHU he got wrong, Get Haunted he got wrong, and I was just like, you're killing me over here. And then now that somehow is my drama. Like, I didn't know any of these people, bro. When you bring it to the table, but what we're able to do is the recovery, right?
Mhm.
It's not how hard you get hit, right? It's if you can take it. That's if you can get back up and say more, please, you know. But that's the thing too. Somebody has to break. Somebody has to humble themselves and just say, hey, like at this point, if we're really about the location, then let's really be about the location. What I've discovered is that people say, oh, I don't like drama. I don't want drama. I don't do all this drama. They are the people that are the biggest drama in the world. It's those people. And then, like you said too, there's so many different weird stories about people. Like when we brought on Jocelyn recently, we had these weird DMs like, "Oh, be careful." Blah, blah, blah. About what? About what am I careful about? Like people just have to add their own 2 cents to everything and not know the full story. It's like I'm not going to be careful with anybody. I mean, if people, you know, go a certain way, then they go a certain way. Whether I follow them, that's another question. But bring it back to what we used to do when we started this a long time ago, before the TV shows too. That's the other caveat that we never mentioned. Like we were doing this way before the TV shows. TV shows didn't make ghost hunts. The only people that have been in this for like 6 years can attest to that. If you've been in it for 30 years, like I have, I've been doing ghost hunts since I was 18, 19. That's what made people want to do the TV shows, is because this was going on, right? They didn't invent a craft, and TV shows came out of the UK. It didn't come out of America. Like there's a great book called Haunted Channels. Once again, the other thing that I will put a little stamp on this. Nobody effing reads. Nobody reads. Nobody reads books. They just don't do it. They've refused to read. Haunted Channels is one of the best books you can buy because she did an entire dissertation on reality ghost shows, and it gives you the entire demographic. It gives you the chemical makeup, and you'd be surprised how spot on she is in every chapter of that book. And that's what I learned from that. Was it's about the community that wants to support the history, and while doing that, have the fun of maybe encountering something supernatural.
Yeah,
that's why we do. And and everybody should have an approach. Like, here's the other thing that's really weird too. The person that came in there and wanted to gatekeep also got rid of Ouija boards, but then would do the Estes method. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. You're using a conduit of somebody to ask questions that you want the answers to. How is that different from a Ouija board? It's the same thing. Like, and it's just like, could not get that message across. Like, just bring the freaking Ouija board. Just close it. Do whatever you think you need to do. But like, if people want to bring that, if people want to explore that, I mean, automatic writing, there are people that do Ouija boards by themselves. People aren't getting possessed and doing wall crawls. I mean, like, you got to come to a point where it's like, are we getting everything from movies now? Like the 3 o'clock bullshit? Like, there's nothing that happens at 3 a.m. The witching hour is 6 a.m. Like, it's just read, people. Read. Like, you know, most people investigate based on a Conjuring movie. And I'll be honest with you guys. If 1% of a Conjuring film happened at a ghost hunt, no one would ghost hunt.
They'd never come back.
No.
I know. I've seen some whacked out shit, right? Over my years. And sometimes it was the people that were there looking for that. When they got it, wherever this was, when they got it, they were out. They were done. Like, they were like, fuck. Like, that was way more than I ever anticipated. So, you know, but back to Sarah's point real quick, you know, and there are people that on both sides, for both you and I, that are like, why the fuck would you make up with that guy? You are one of the very few, or maybe of two, who have ever been like, you know what, man, like, I fucked up. And there were places I did too, and we did talk a lot privately about this. It says a lot. It does. So I'm glad you reached out, because at first I was like, Frankie initially reached out via chat, text message, and I'm like, I'm not answering this fucking guy. Fuck him. And then you sent a longer message. I started reading it, and I believed you.
Yeah, I
did. And I was like, damn it.
My word is actually my bond. I know people like to say that.
Yeah.
My word is my bond. If I say that I'm going to own it, I'll own it. And also stick up for you too. Like, there's been a lot of people that champion you, but few people that will champion you will actually go public. Like the thing that we got the whole time that this was going on between me and the ex-partner was, well, this is more a you and Dan thing. No, it's not. There's money missing, bro. From locations. It's not a me thing. It's a business ethics thing. It's a morality thing. And those are the things that people just don't understand, is that I will always stand on my own 2 feet and tell you when something is wrong, it's wrong. And I wish more people did that. I wish more people would be able to stand up for themselves and get behind people that are doing justice, especially if you have the evidence and the facts. But like people that don't want to get involved, for me, then don't play a part in the game.
Yeah.
That's the person that's in the hold'em game that keeps folding.
Whoa.
It's that person.
You gotta know when to fold them.
Yeah. He's got the ace king unsuited. Like, I shouldn't go with this.
All right, let's bring it back to what is have you had any large, kind of wild experiences there personally?
Yes. Oh, 100%. Yeah, we have a full-bodied apparition that we caught on camera. We were one of my friends who has a radio show. He's also a state senator, and his chief of staff wanted to come out and ghost hunt with us. And so I invited him out, and on his chief of staff, put a body cam on him. And then we were in the observation room, and we were basically going through the ordeal of, just using EMF, right? Like my thing is like, start small, use K2 meters, use a bunch of different off-brand K2 meters, get the real expensive ones with the real cheap ones, and try to see if they all create the same anomaly. Is all of that going off at the same time? Well, in this particular experiment, it did. We had 3 different types of EMF detectors. All 3 of them were going off at the same exact time. They were all just lighting at red. We were all staring at it. It's pitch black. And as we walked away that night, they were like, man, that's really crazy. I've never seen 3 EMF detectors from 3 different brands go off at the same time. That's odd. Well, I get home. I call Jeremy right away. I tell him, hey, man, this is crazy what happened tonight. And then Jeremy's first reaction was, well, did you look around the room? Because something was there. Why are you looking at a meter when you're getting a detection that something's there? And it's a fun problem to have, right? Like, oh my God, we're getting these big responses, but like look around. And I'm in my studio where I'm at now. It's like probably 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'm just in the dark here, and I'm editing, and I'm going through all the footage, and all of a sudden there he is. He pops his little head out, and he appears. I'll show it. I can share it with you guys. Once Mandy's about to pull up, so I'm gonna go get her and bring her down. Okay. I got the camera already set up and everything. So he pops out and he stays on camera for a good 2 to 3 minutes, and it's an incredible video of this little guy. And it's the first time that I've ever caught like a full-bodied apparition where he was just very curious about what was going on. The stories track. There was a lot of morphine kids after the Civil War. So after the Civil War, a lot of kids were hooked on morphine, and that would go on to into the turn of the century, fetal alcohol syndrome, kids being hooked on Dilaudid, not so much cocaine, more into morphine, the Dilaudid, the opium, those types of things. You have to understand, this is the Wild West out here. This is Jesse James territory. These things did happen out here. And so a lot of times they just send children that were hooked on these drugs to Emmaus, and some of them didn't make it, of course. What we believe happened to Chris. We believe his name is Christopher. And he still hangs out there. Immediately when he's in the room. There's either a mist. You'll hear sounds. Sometimes you'll hear growls, but it's not like a demonic growl. It's more like a moan. We've had some really great experiences there with the God helmet, which Terry Mosby let us borrow the God helmet in a couple sessions there, and that really kind of opened up that chamber as well. So definitely has the trifecta, though. It has disembodied voices. It has full-bodied apparitions. It has great EVP sessions too.
You mentioned something about the woods out there too.
Yes, the woods are being run by the Blondes and Booze. That's Krista Tweedy heads up that team with Brandy Butcher. They are basically going to be doing a lot of Bigfoot expeditions come spring. And with the boys at the Haunted Garage are doing, we're actually fixing up we have an 87 military diesel Blazer. It's all camouflaged out. It's a military issue, which is great. So it's diesel. You might have driven one of these in your career there. So we have one. We're fixing one up. And then we also have a 96 Jeep. And so part of the expedition is you get an off-road vehicle so you can take it up into the hills. So we're making these really cool packages. And it's kind of how we tie in the garage. The actual haunted garage is actually on the property now. And so we're going to be fixing up classic cars there and stuff like that. And keep them real.
I'll bring my God helmet too when I see you next year. We'll bring it there. And I'm sure I'll see you beforehand.
Yeah. I'm going to go grab people and I'll be right back.
Yeah, go get her.
So
I find that really interesting that Franki is somebody that is interested in the God helmet.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
should I take him down so you guys don't have to? There you go.
Oh, okay, there you go. So there you go. You know, I'm fighting to get you to ask a question here.
You guys were just going off of each other, so I took a step back and allowed that conversation to happen.
We allowed it. See, everyone, that was a Freudian slip right there. She allows me to do things. That's how I'm taking that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. But seriously, you know, I think I'm so excited to see people interested in this particular location. You know, it's time. There are locations all over the place that we, you know, that don't have top billing. And, you know, I think it's time that, because there are so many curious enthusiasts, explorers, researchers, investigators out there, right? And there are so many beautiful historical locations waiting to be discovered. You don't have to go to the same 10. Continue to support those 10. We're not saying walk away from them, but there are a lot of amazing locations. And when you guys sit down and you get to talk to Mandy here tonight, you're going to understand exactly why we got excited about the conversation with her, because it is a beautiful campus. And it's also a campus that is not just used. In fact, paranormal is not its main usage. It is a daytime location as well.
I can't wait for her to. Oh, she's here. Look at that. Yeah, and Jason, I fixed my trunk latch. Yes, Sunday. The part came in. It was really, really easy to fix, and it's fixed now. So the Witch is Familiar Paranormal Research. We've investigated there. It's an amazing place.
Yeah.
Had their most intense and intelligent Estes session in one of the buildings. Yeah, we're going to be checking it out. I have a feeling we'll be checking it out one day. Little birds are telling me that.
They are. Just little birds are telling you that?
Just little birds. So, folks, this is probably the end of my session because Mandy and Sarah are going to just chat it up. And, you know, I'll be here to just look good on camera.
Oh my God.
You can screenshot me.
Mandy's already going, oh, please.
Mandy.
There she is. There is Mandy of Emmaus Asylum right there. And it's called Marthasville, correct? Marthasville, Missouri.
That's correct.
Awesome. And so is this, I don't know Missouri that well. I really don't. So is this location close to St. Louis? Is it? Okay.
Yeah, we're approximately 40 miles west of St. Louis, just straight shot down Highway 70, pretty much.
Oh, well, okay. So folks on the East Coast, let's just say this. Get your plane ticket to St. Louis, get your booty in a rental car, and you can go right to this amazing location. That's nothing. That's an easy trip. Easy trip.
It really is. And I will tell you, if anybody needs a hitch ride from the airport, if you're flying, and we do have Airbnbs as well, right on site.
It just gets better and better. Like, this location should shoot right up to the top of your to-do list, your bucket list. Mandy, we want to share. We've been so excited about your location since we had our talk. And there's a lot of different reasons for that. You know, I think we connected with you. I think there was this was not just a surface connection for us, you know, as you spoke about your location and your passion about this location, because this is more than the paranormal. This runs so much deeper. Paranormal is a beautiful way to bring people in and to get to know history. But this location means a lot. And, I think Rob and I have talked about it. We were like, we got to get her on the show because one, we want to get the word out there. And we want people to come and explore Missouri and add Emmaus right there with their MSP investigations. Like, there's no reason why you're going to do it. Like, go out there, go to MSP, go check out Emmaus. What was it about Emmaus? What led you to Emmaus, first of all? Like, how did you find it to say, this is going to be my place?
Oh, that is such a big question. Okay, if I start talking too long, just cut me off.
No, go.
It was really a really big accident, honestly. It was, well, I say accident. I don't really necessarily believe in accidents, but it wasn't planned. I should say that from my perspective. So I grew up in North St. Louis, and then later on I've lived all over the place. And then later on I moved to this little suburb of St. Louis called Wentzville, and I went through a divorce. And at that time I was teaching Montessori, excuse me, Montessori at this very rural school in this little teensy town called Dutzow. And I went on maternity leave with my last child, and right before I went through my divorce. And I would be driving around, just wasting time in between drop off and pick up for my older children. And I just drove down this old country road, and I see this huge, overwhelming, magnificent historical campus. Had no idea what it was. In fact, I, being from St. Louis, had never even heard of Marthasville, Missouri. I was like, Marthasville, what is that? Anyway, so I saw it, and it was vacant at the time, and it had been vacant for years. And so I just started, I'm so sorry, I have a cough.
You're fine.
Excuse me. So I started dropping my kids off at school in the morning and then taking the baby and putting him in the backpack carrier, and he and I would hike all over the property. I had no idea what it was. And that went on for about a year. And then I go through my divorce later, and I'm having to move out of our family home, and I'm looking for a place where I can, essentially rent. And I'm a mom of 6 kids. And so nobody would rent to me. And it was pretty shocking. So my whole life was changing. And so one day I'm driving past the property. Yes, please. Thank you. I'm driving past the property, and I see an auction sign. And by this time I had, I'm so sorry.
Oh.
I had met Ben, and we were going through similar circumstances, and he was a sudden stay-at-home dad of his 3 kids, and he had traveled for his job and could no longer travel because now he was instant, full-time dad. So he's looking for rental properties. And so this part of the property goes up for our auction, and I say, oh, that's perfect. There's this beautiful stone farmhouse. I'm going to live there and be a recluse and never talk to anybody again because I'm mad at the world. And I'm going to raise my children, and we're going to homestead, and that's it. We're going to hide. And Ben's like, oh, it's perfect. There was also 6 other condemned houses. He's like, I will remodel those and rent them out. And, so we just agreed that we would be friends and we would just do this deal together. So we did. And anyway, on our 3rd date, however, let me just backtrack a minute. On our 3rd date, Ben said, what do you want to do? And I said, let's hike. And he's like, okay, where do you want to go? And I said, let me take you to my favorite secret abandoned location. And I was like, you probably haven't heard of it. Let's just meet up and I'll drive you there. And he's like, okay. So we hop in the car and we drive out there on this beautiful Sunday afternoon, and we arrive at Emmaus property to hike. And he's like, oh, I know this place. And I was like, how do you know this place? And it turns out my mom works for Emmaus. She's worked here all, my whole childhood as a caregiver. And I was like, you are kidding me. So that was kind of a big coincidence. So we have this picnic on the front lawn of Carl and Mina Sturm's farmhouse, which, having no idea that we're ever going to bid on this, that it's going to go up for auction and we're going to bid on it and own this together someday, having no idea. And so it's kind of an interesting little backstory. So yeah, I mean, that's kind of the nutshell. So at that time, they had all these pieces parceled off and were auctioning them. So we only bought 20 acres across the street from the main campus in these 1 farmhouse and then 5 condemned houses. That's what we bought. And we start doing that and remodeling it. And we're doing great. It's a big investment project that we're doing together. And then Fast forward a little bit later, an investor had bought the main campus at the time and then decided to liquidate that in December of 2023. So we were like, wow, let's grab that and reunite it. We had no idea what we were going to do with it or anything like that. But the community had been really, really shook up from this investor because he bought this campus, made all these promises to restore it, and then didn't follow through on any of it. So, we were like, let's do this as a service to the community. We're going to turn this back over to the community in whatever way that we can. So we picked that up for a song, and then we ended up with 70 acres. Our side is 20, the main campus is 50, and then all of the historic buildings. And then we're like, oh, what do we do now? How do we do this? And it was just one day from there. But do you want me to tell you a crazy story about that, though?
Yeah.
Yes, please do.
Ben and I are incredibly emotionally attached to this property, which, for real estate investors is like the biggest no-no that can ever happen. But we are. But so when we picked up the main campus in December of 2023, I had already been researching, but now I'm researching on a whole new level to find out the history and whatnot. And we find out about Carl and Mina Sturm. Carl was the first permanent superintendent of Emmaus Asylum. He began there, I think they opened July 5th in 1893, and he started in 1895, I think, Ben. Anyway, and so two incredible, crazy, emotional things happened. So first of all, we find out that Carl and Mina Sturm's wedding anniversary was the day that we had our third date, and we're picnicking together on their front lawn. That was their wedding anniversary. They had 9 kids together. Ben and I have 9 kids. 4 of their children shared the same birthday as 4 of our children. So you can't even make it up. And so now I'm going to get to the absolute shebang of the story. So I'm doing this.
Stop for 1 second. Do you remember what day in December you picked up the property?
We picked up the property. Well, we closed on December 30th, I think, or 31st. And I do know the date that we had. The day that we had the date was August 9th of 2020.
I like numbers. I love looking at the numbers. So I was curious. And when you started bringing numbers out, I'm like, oh God, here we go.
So
I'm sorry.
That's okay. I'm reading all about Carl and Mina Sturm, learning all about them, et cetera, et cetera. And so I'm looking everywhere for a photograph of them. So I finally come across on newspapers.com an old photograph of Carl Sturm. When I see this picture of him, I literally, my jaw dropped. I was like trembling. I couldn't believe it. I recognized him. And here's where I recognized him. Now, I have never been a paranormal person prior to now. So this was the first big crazy thing. So let's just rewind all the way back to 2006. I'm living in Wentzville, a suburb of St. Louis. And I had my son, who is now 19. And he was 6 months old at the time. And it's the wee hours in the morning. And my husband at the time was a roofer. So he had just left and gone to work. And it was, I could barely see in the room. It wasn't even light outside yet. And I'm laying in my bed and he's snuggling with me in bed. And I just happen to open my eyes barely. And I see a figure standing beside my bed. And I'm like, I close my eyes and I'm like kind of panicking for a minute. And I'm thinking I'm not all the way awake. I mean, I'm awake, but I'm not fully alert. And I open my eyes again and he's still there. And then I close my eyes and now I'm panicking because I'm thinking there's an intruder in my house. And I'm laying there trying to figure out, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? And I'm like, I don't know what to do. And so then I open my eyes a third time and he's gone. And I was like, oh my gosh. And so now I'm bewildered and I'm like, it was kind of this dreamlike state, but I definitely saw a figure. And he was dressed in what I thought looked like Amish clothing. And he had a hat and this long black beard. He had a white work shirt on with suspenders, brown suspenders and brown pants. Anyway, so I'm calling on my family and I'm wanting to go through all of our genealogy. I'm thinking it's some kind of ancestor or something. Never was able to figure out who that was. I never did figure out who it was until 2024 in January when I'm doing the research and I see Carl Sturm's picture and by God, it was Carl Sturm. I promise, I swear on my life. And the picture that I saw, he's standing in front of the farmhouse that we now live on with the exact same outfit on that he had the day he stood by my bed in 2006. And I don't know what to make of it. I don't know what the purpose of that was, but It was absolutely him. And I don't know, maybe it was just so I know now, like, hey, you're in the right place. I don't know, but definitely Carl Sturm visited me in 2006. It was the craziest thing, maybe the craziest thing that's ever happened to me to date. Anyway,
I love it.
It's an amazing story because I think so many locations, this is the piece that I feel is missing when we talk about what we're doing in the paranormal for so many of us, right? Because I think you've got those, and there's nothing wrong with it. There are those that go to the locations because they're either replicated in a movie, right? Or, or perhaps, right, a TV show, somebody famous has gone there. And that's great. And it does bring attention to those locations. However, the bigger piece, at least for us, when we are investigating and when we're talking about the paranormal, is what about this connection that we have to the universe universally with energy? Why does it bring us to certain locations? Clearly, you were led to that location. If you were dropping off kids and hanging out there and doing your thing, right? You just happened upon it. Those to me are those little, whatever you want to call it, God winks, or right, the little connection, that moment where you're like, okay, and maybe you're not supposed to realize it in the very beginning, right? That's part of the human experience, right? The living experience is figuring some of this stuff out. Is this Ben right here off to the side that we haven't brought up?
that is Ben.
Let's bring him up. Hi, Ben.
I thought he was fixing the camera. Ben, I'm an ass. I'm so sorry.
No worries.
Because Frankie was like, 1 minute. I didn't realize that. I'm so
Poor Ben's just sitting down there. He's just like, I think you need to bring him up.
Oh my God. I feel
Poor Ben. That happens to him on a lot of our appearances. I'm the big partner, and he's a little more introverted, and
Mandy's
so he ends up off to the side.
Mandy's a history buff. She's like an encyclopedia. So
yeah.
She does. She's like rattling off those dates. I'd have to look at my notes. I'd be like, I don't know all those dates, but
I'm not gonna lie, it's a little spectrum, but I own it and I'm proud of it.
I mean, so her story, it was just a whole series of very improbable things that occurred that led to us eventually owning the entire historic campus. Yeah.
One thing after another, really. I just gave you the few key insights.
But even so, and I know in our phone call, Mandy, the one thing that stood out to me, and when you speak about Emmaus, is the transformation and the healing power of this entire location. And now, because you didn't share that story with us on our phone call, I think you were like, we'll talk about it another time. But to hear how you and Ben met, right, and sort of your situations, like, you're not kidding. That location definitely calls for transformation and healing. Like, you said it, and now you've explained to us why this is very true.
It really is. And I feel so strongly about that. So, Ben and I we feel like we've kind of been called to be stewards of this property. We take it pretty seriously. We've tried lots of different things on this property, and I'm going to tell you, it has its own agenda. And whatever we think that we're going to do, it's most often times like, yeah, nope, that's not on the agenda. The agenda seems to be about connection and healing. And it just repeats itself over and over again. And, Ben and I met before we were really probably healed and ready in terms of relationship. And it just, I don't know what it was. It just was like, hey, you're going to come here together. You're going to do this together, and you're going to heal, and I'm going to help you. And I call the land, I refer to her as she. I don't know why, but she feels very much like she has her, almost like Mother Nature maybe, or something, or, that kind of thing. Thank you.
Frankie's a great assistant.
Look at that.
Thank you.
Guy.
Dandelion tea with honey and organic honey.
Wow.
Frankie's all a big teddy bear over there.
And then I'm reading, all the history, and like every single shred of history, the theme is healing. And like the whole purpose of the asylum, and like it was America's first ever community for people with developmental disabilities. At that time, they didn't even know that there was anything besides just like criminally insane. And that's all there was 8 criminal insane asylums. So this was actually America's first ever community home-like setting where people with developmental developmental disabilities could come. They were just identifying that there's, hey, maybe all these homeless and, unemployed people are not derelicts. Maybe there's something a little bit more to it. Yeah. And maybe these kids aren't just, brats or dumb, as they called them back in the day. Maybe there's more to that. And so, and it just continues on like that. I mean, we have on our side of the property, we have tried, the big grand plan was we were going to do Airbnbs and short-term rentals. And we do still have, a couple of those units, but nope. She said, absolutely not. This is for affordable housing. You're going to bring people here that need housing. So we started doing that. And then, oh, nope, you're going to bring families here with children. And, we have families of children here who these children have never even had a safe place to ride a bike outside ever. I mean, we have a family right now with a 4-year-old who never has been able to play outside of his parent. I mean, aside from his parents taking him to a park once every couple of weeks. That's his only exposure to nature. And every single person, I'm telling you, without exception, has said when they come on our property, including just short-term rental guests, I don't know what it is about this place, but I have never felt this tranquil, peaceful feeling before. And they don't want to go. And we have lots of repeat customers, and these families are here and they're stable for the first time in their whole lives. And it's remarkable. But I could go on, but
we've had a variety of individuals that have just been attracted to the property. And then some have been good, and then some have been kind of had their own sets of issues that we
let's go back to the agenda. People come there thinking they're going to bring their own agenda, and it does not work, and they end up going about their business because she's not going to bend. She's not.
She rejects
property. She's not. So yeah.
So to me, it sounds like Emmaus really started working on both of you long before you ever thought about it, right? Like before it ever became a reality for you. So it's oddly similar in many ways. Story I had with a piece of property that I was blaming for. It's how I ended up meeting Sarah. I thought it was ruining my life, but the truth was I had to go through all that garbage, right, to get to a point that forced me to pick up a phone and talk to her, because I was in a bad place, and we didn't really know each other. It was, she technically saved my life that day, and from there on, we were best friends. So I guess my point is, there was something about the place that brought me that pain that through one lens was like evil and terrible, but through the right lens, it was like, hey, dude, like you need to fix all of these things, and here they are. If you don't do it, I'm going to do it for you. And it did. Like it was a really tough time, but looking backwards, right, I'm like, I thank God for everything that I went through, because it put me here today. It's just, so when you first started talking, when we spoke on that Zoom, I was like, it was hitting me right in the feels. So I'm like, I know that feeling. I understand that feeling and what it means. And then the wonderment about all of it is like, how in the hell, going back to, 2006, when you saw that apparition, I think that's what you said, for it to connect so many years later in that way. And then how you two came together, and there's similar stories, and the kids, it's amazing. And the truth is, you just can't make that shit up. You just can't.
You absolutely cannot. And speaking of the kids, like, oh, sorry, Ben, go ahead.
No, you mind if I tell a little bit about the auction scenario?
Go right ahead.
So when that property went up for auction, I was actually in Houston for work, and I was working with a Chinese company. So Mandy told me the auction was happening, and I got online and basically started bidding, but I had sort of like an upper limit. And I didn't remember the property that well, because we had the picnic the one day, and it had been years before when I went over with my mom, and I mainly stayed in the building that she worked in. So I was like, okay, we can have a number here, but so I got to my number and then went above that, and I said, okay, I gotta shut down. Mandy's going to be really disappointed that this didn't work out. And then I got on a call with across the ocean, and then by the time I got off the call, I had like 20 text messages and they were all from Mandy, like, "Oh my gosh, where are you at? What are you doing? I just won the auction." And I was like, "What are you talking about? I didn't know you were bidding on the." So you
guys outbid each other.
Yeah.
So I couldn't get a hold of him, so I did not realize he was bidding. And it just says you have these anonymous auction bid numbers. One of us knew that the other one was in.
Well, I didn't know, but I thought you had saw where I was at and realized no.
I didn't even know he was in the auction.
But I also didn't realize that there were 3 auctions that were all pieces of the property, and if any bidder would bid on one of those 3, that would automatically extend to all 3. So I thought the auction on the piece we were bidding had closed, but it would automatically extend. So it had gotten extended, and I had no idea. And then I also had no idea that Mandy was one of the other bidders.
And I went, okay, so you want to hear a little more emotional thing? I can tell you just a bit hair more if you want to hear it.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Oh no.
So I was coming out of my marriage, and I had just come out of my marriage, and it was very rough, and it was abusive and whatnot. And my husband at the time, he had left all of us left me with $1 singular dollar in our bank account, and I'm not kidding. So $1 singular dollar in the bank account, and I have all 6 kids. It's COVID. All 6 kids are home from school. I'm trying to figure out how do I take care of my kids, blah, blah, blah. So, I mean, this was just, so that had happened in February of that year. And so this is just the auction that's happening in October now. So, 9 months, and I still didn't have any more than $1 singular dollar in my bank account. I mean, I'm going to be real. So I was like, and here I am bidding on this auction. And I was telling you that I drove by and saw it was up for auction. Well, I never get a sell. It's very terrible cell service. So I had no bars usually ever. And so I happened to look down, and I'm like, I have bars, which was weird. And so I get out, I pull up on the property, and I'm like, kids, stay in the car and don't get out. And I go up to this farmhouse that we're living in, and it has this beautiful porch. And I get on the porch, and I quite literally got down on my knees and just said a spiritual prayer. I was like, what am I doing thinking about bidding on this auction? I have $0. Like, what am I going to do? And I just felt like, just do it anyway. And so I did. And then literally in like 2 minutes, it closed out, and it goes, "You've won the auction." And I was like, and then I'm like panicking, and it's hitting me. Oh my God, I have like 48 hours to come up with like, $30,000 down payment. And so I'm like, and I can't get a hold of Ben because he's in Houston for work and like talking to China, and I'm getting no responses. So I Zoom home, and I'm like talking to my neighbor who's a real estate agent. I'm like, I know there's a such thing as real estate investors, and I got to figure out where they are and what they do because I need help fast. And so he actually found me an investor. And so just within a couple hours. And so I had this other investor lined up, and she was also a survivor of domestic abuse. So she was like, I'm going to help this family and this mom get on her feet and da-da-da. And so obviously I didn't end up going with her because Ben and I did this deal. But all that to say, I mean, I won this auction with $1 to my name. And I don't know, like looking back, like I couldn't have been any more of a dumbass because what was I thinking? But like I own the property, and I'm telling you, it's like telling me like, you have to do this. You have to do this. You're here. Do it. Don't worry. I got you. And all these things. And then I did panic. And I think I was going to tell you a little more than that, but I totally got lost. Sorry. I got off on a tangent. But
I had been, when COVID hit, the company that I was working for, I was doing research and development, and they just decided they weren't going to do that anymore. So they released a whole bunch of people, like a lot of companies did, right? Mm-hmm. They were pretty short-sighted because things kind of turned around not too long after that. But I basically had a severance package from that company from being released. And then that was really a big piece of the down payment that we used to nab that property at auction at a really good price. So that kind of got us started. And then when we were living over there, so we would just go over to the other side and explore the property because we just thought it was so cool. And
it was vacant because it was just an investor holding it.
And at that time we knew the investor, and we knew that they didn't mind us going over there. And we were also working on the water because there was a shared well system. Mm-hmm. So I was trying to get that well going so we'd have water on our side of the property. So I'm working on that, and I get it going. And then lo and behold, this big real estate company with a bigger investor, he buys the property. And of course, we know he's interested in our property. So he comes and he wants to buy it, And we're like, well, we really don't want to sell it.
Sorry, not for
pretty
sale.
emotionally attached. And he said, well, give me a number. You got to give me a number. And we kind of said, okay, well, we'll give him a number. And
The walkaway number.
We gave him a pretty big number, and then we didn't hear back for a while, right? And then we heard through some other sources that we made him mad because we had given him too big of a number.
Really mad. We assaulted him.
If you want the property, this is our number, right? And but while he had possession of the historic campus across the street, there were all kinds of vandals just coming, weekends.
Oh, every weekend,
breaking windows, spray painting, just doing all kinds of just dumb, destructive things. I know a lot of people were going; they were just curious and exploring. So it's kind of hard to tell like who are the who aren't, right? But we would kind of wait up on the weekends, and when we'd hear the dogs start barking, I would like cruise over on the golf cart and just chase kids away. And usually I would tell them like, look, I know I can't stop you guys from coming out here, but please, like, don't destroy this place. It's got no reason to destroy it. If you're going to come out here and walk around, that's fine. We're not going to call the police, but as long as you're not tearing anything up. So we were trying to protect it. And we kind of developed an attachment even, after we had bought it.
We're just in there hook, line, and sinker. It was bad.
But that's a beautiful thing though, Mandy. Like you're and I think this is where, and I hope people who are investigators or explorers or researchers, I hope that they see that about this location. When somebody has such a passion, such an attachment, I mean, it's like Emmaus is your family, right? It's your family. And one thing that stuck out for us is because this location is not a paranormal location, everybody. This is a facility, like she said, of transformation and healing, and people do live and work there, correct, during the day hours.
Yep, they do. So, I mean, it still looks very much abandoned. I mean, we've done a lot of work, but it's so much work that is necessary that it just doesn't look like it. But so it looks abandoned, but no, we do have people. Most of the residential people are on our side, but there are two newer buildings that are beside the historical buildings on the main campus, and we do have residential renters in there, and they kind of keep an eye on that side, and they do work trade for us and things like that. So yeah, and then we are doing different various small businesses just trying to generate revenue during the day.
And it's such a large campus. It's kind of hard for somebody that hasn't seen it. It's kind of hard to understand. Yeah. I mean, there's the two newer buildings that she's talking about are both like 9,000 square feet each floor space, and then the historic buildings are close to 20,000 square feet. And there's three of those. Yeah.
I mean, in total, there's just over 100,000 square feet of building space on the main campus alone. Yeah. So, and when you look at the picture, like you see the aerial shots and whatnot online, and it looks big and beautiful and massive, but it's still, I'm telling you, when you first come, you just got to come in person, and you drive over the old stone bridge and you pull up, and you're just really like, holy shit, this is, I mean, it's a compound. I mean, and all of the utilities that are in there and in place, they're municipal grade utilities. I mean, it truly is like a compound. It's huge.
So it's Emmaus Asylum, but what led to the name Emmaus since it's in Marthasville?
Well, Emmaus is their historical name. So so first in, let's see. So it started out in 1840. It was just a German settlement farm. In 1850, it opened up as a boys' school. It was a boys' boarding school. And then in I think it was 68-ish, then it turned into Eden Seminary. And after Eden Seminary, it turned into Emmaus. And when it first opened its doors in 1893, it was the official name at that time was Emmaus Asylum for Feeble-Minded and Epileptics. And I had never, I mean, I grew up a Christian, but I had never heard the word Emmaus. I just didn't. And so I'm like, what does that even mean, Emmaus? And then I look it up, and it's this whole beautiful Bible story called The Road to Emmaus. And actually it's about a journey of transformation. And in particular, it's about having faith in things that you cannot see, that are there and believing and just keep staying the path and staying the course, even when you can't see the finish line, which is just incredible.
Another thing that's really interesting about the story is really there's two travelers on a road that are very upset, and they're upset because Jesus has just been crucified. And they're like, Jesus is no longer with us, and they're grieving. And then a third traveler joins them, and then they're on a road to Emmaus. Emmaus is a town. And when they finally get to Emmaus, they realize like it's Jesus resurrected that's been with them the whole time.
And they never recognized it until he revealed himself. And the whole point is, it took, you said you had faith in me while I was alive. And then after I died, then you questioned everything and had doubt of what you thought you knew. And now here I come back and I'm saying all the same things to you, but you can't see me because I look different. And so I'm going to reveal myself to you so that, continue having faith even when you cannot, even when you don't know what's going to happen in the end. It's just beautiful. So it just makes it even more incredible.
Yeah, the story, the name, this location to me, this is the type of location, in my humble opinion, that, and one reason we wanted to help you guys, it's to, we want to introduce you to our network. So Ben and Mandy, welcome to the Get Hunted Network. Welcome. I hope our friends become your friends. They're incredible people. But after this live ends, their next step to this journey for Emmaus, these are big steps. And every step somebody takes will help keep this beautiful property, we're hoping, to full functioning for so many reasons, for the daytime, for what it supplies to the living people, right? And then what it's supplying to the spirits that remain. And then the one thing we talked about on our phone call was making that bridge, that connection from the living there and the those that have passed that remain, right? Making that connection and understanding, do we still receive that help from people who have had help from that location?
Right. And that's actually, so our daytime name is Emmaus Village of Marthasville, and the logo is a stone bridge. And because there really truly is a stone bridge when you pull onto the property. And to me, it's that bridge and that logo is so significant. And it's not just, for us, it's bridging the past, the present, and the future. And I'm just going to tell you, it's hard to even put this into words. It's so big. But, so our tagline is preserve, integrate, cultivate, and sustain. So for the people today, just getting them to a place where they can have that in their everyday life. Like, I'm going to preserve my family and what's important to me, and stability and security and sovereignty. Sovereignty is like the big word. And then, I'm going to integrate it with my family and my life. It's a new way of living. I'm going to cultivate it and grow it more. And then I'm going to contribute to making it sustainable for all the generations to come, which are all of our children. But when you incorporate that with the spirits that I believe are still there, I personally am 100,000,000% confident that the spirits that are there are communicating with us every single day. And some of us may pick up on that and some of us might not, but they're there. And not only are they helping us heal, but I really believe that they're still there because they need us to help them heal and make it to whatever other side might be there and available for them. And I think they've been waiting. I think they've been waiting to tell their story. I think they're overjoyed to have people there and interested in them, because at the time it was a very hush-hush thing in society. These are mentally incapacitated people, and everybody was scared of them, and they weren't treated very nicely all the time, and maybe not intentionally, but whatever the case is, they weren't. And like Mad Albert, who's in the asylum, like, to me, Mad Albert does not want us to close his door, and he wants people to, they need validation just like we do. It's all about, like, can somebody please validate my experiences, please? And it's no different if you're deceased or you're alive. And it's just, it's all interdimensional, I think.
Maybe that's what para-unity truly is. We've all been fighting this para-unity word, which we're not big fans of or use. However, maybe that's the true sense of what para-unity is what Emmaus Asylum could truly bring together, which is truly bridging the past and the present, right? And unifying in what that sort of, I mean, we're using the word healing, and I think for Rob and I, we do, like, we would love to have you guys back on. We do something called Seek with Your Soul, which goes a little bit deeper into your experiences with the paranormal and understanding that it's not all right. We're not all getting shoved down the stairs, right? And we're right.
Actually,
yeah, right. So, but I think this is where you have those that are thrill seeking is one thing, but for so many of us, and especially in a time like today where I really hate this word too, awakening, right? The enlightenment, because those words have been sort of bastardized now. But when we talk about that, that's truly what really these paranormal experiences probably are trying to teach us. So maybe that's truly what para-unity is uniting the paranormal with the living to understand what these messages truly mean and why do they resonate. Why was it resonating for you and Ben, right, to be at Emmaus? Why did it resonate for Rob to go to the location he did 14, 17 nights, not in a row, but throughout his career? What is it about these places? Why are we drawn? Why are we called? Why do we have? Because I have been to the same location that he had his big experiences in and really didn't have anything outside of watching a door open, which is amazing, right? But it's not these big, impactful, like make you stop and go, okay, am I insane, right? There was nothing like that for me. But for him, he had those. So and we're all trying to, on social media, pick everybody's experience apart, right? We're trying to sit there and say, you're full of shit. You're lying about that. It didn't happen like that. This is not paranormal. But when you have locations like Emmaus to make you stop, don't thrill seek, maybe soul seek and see what is really there to connect with you and to bring you to a different place in the here and now, right? They're there. And aren't we supposed to learn from history, by the way?
Right. Well, hence the term living history, right?
Yeah.
The whole thing. I would agree with that 100%. And for me personally, it's I don't use the word awakening that much either. But for me personally, I think if we're going to use it, like the Great Awakening is, hey, past, present, and future, like, guys, hello, like we know enough now with technology and physics that we know that time, space, it's interdimensional. So is there really actually even a past, a present, and a future? And like, hello, like paranormal, like that's your experience? Like we're having an interdimensional experience, and what does that mean and why?
Well, quantum physics is now, all these scientists are now coming out saying past, present, future are all happening at the same time. They are not separate. And what we're perceiving, right? This is where I think as investigators, researchers, and explorers, I think this is where we really miss a mark. But it sounds like Emmaus would be an amazing opportunity, especially because you have places to stay on site. Like, don't just go for 6 hours, folks. Like, if you can book a place and stay there and really get the feel of it, it does make you, to me, it would make you want to understand what could this mean for, I guess, the education into the paranormal. I don't even think it's paranormal anymore. I think this is very normal. This is what it's supposed to be. And are we all sort of chipping away at the calcification that we've got, on our third eye and our brains too, really, if you think about it? We're just so closed off to all of this, but you're living it. You and Ben are living it. You're on the property. You're immersed in this beautiful energy that just keeps giving, and you're growing it to be something for the living and for those deceased.
Yes.
So why would we not all want to help chip in here, folks, and make sure that Emmaus has an opportunity to continue to do what they're doing?
Yeah, and I've gone to pretty great lengths. So I'm very new to paranormal, and I'm very new to metaphysical as well. Like I've always been into quantum physics, but metaphysical is also new for me. But I've had a lot of people come and they're scared, and their big thing is, oh, we're going to cleanse and clear the property. And I'm like, hold on, no, you're not. Like, why? What makes you think? Like, why do you believe, first of all, that you're even capable of that? First of all,
amen.
just right now, like you think that you can cleanse and clear an entire deceased realm? I mean, hello. Anyway, but secondly, like, why do you think, why do people automatically go to that place in their head? Like, this is bad and we have to get rid of it. Like, no. And so I'm almost like a mom. Like, you're not, you're going to come and respectful, and these people you're going to hear these people, and we're not cleansing and clearing anything. Let's just get that straight.
You should be. I'm not going to throw my theory out. I'll upset some people.
I'm upsetting.
I agree with you. It's a little egotistical to think that I'm just going to send them off to the light.
Right. Like, control our own.
If we are talking about interdimensional, these incredible beings, right? Like they can do all of these amazing things, but they can't figure out how to walk over to, like, come on.
That's what I'm saying.
Stop it. All of this, right? I was just thinking about it too. Like, even my little tiff with Franki, which is what led us all to this call tonight.
They both look at him.
It had to happen, right? Because if that didn't happen, this conversation wouldn't be happening. So, your story is amazing. It's amazing, and it just resonates. I know with me. I'm sure for Sarah. There's. I know in there's some numbers. Like, our numbers are twos, mostly around twos. I went on Sarah's show, on 12/22 of 2021. I just launched this company on 2/2 of 2022. Is when I reached out to her. I had hit rock bottom. 22 days later, there was I didn't realize any of this till much later. I started looking at the dates. Turns out also on March 22nd, was it? The whole reason I was on her show on March 22nd of 2021 is a friend of mine scheduled to be on that show, and Get Haunted really wasn't even born yet. But he convinced me to come on 12/22. So these twos started popping up, and it's crazy. And Sarah had really helped me get through a lot of stuff. When I finally got her to admit it, right? Because it took her a long time to admit it, because she did ask me she doesn't remember them, but the strangest questions that tied back to some shitty things in my life, all the way back to about 8 years old. Those were actually the day she helped me. She ended that conversation with, "Hey, Rob, like, do you ever think those demons you're fighting belong to you?" She's like, I gotta go now. We'll talk. And I was like, the hell is she even? And then it clicked, right? I had a journal where I kept documenting, like, my words on some of the big things that happened. And Sarah is 100% correct. I thought I was insane. There was no way I just saw that. There was no way I heard that. But I did keep a log. And then I went back and grabbed my journal, and I was thinking about the questions she just asked me, and I go to that one experience, and I'm like, holy shit. Oh my God. It was directly tied to one of those experiences. Then the next one. And that's when everything, like, I thought my world was upside down already. And I'm thinking, like, who the hell is she?
Who the hell?
It makes no sense.
And then me too.
Yeah, and my entire perspective on the paranormal just changed, because I'll admit, the movies and the TV shows were really front and center in my mind, not so much what it meant to me personally. So hearing all of your stories, and I'm sure there's way more, but I know there's numbers, and that's why I asked about the date, you closed or the date you bid on the property. I'd be curious because those numbers, right? When you start looking at them, it's like, oh man, then you can go all the way back and be like, huh, this is just, you can't make it up. So really cool stuff.
Yeah.
Well,
oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I just want to bring it right back though to your location again, the name Emmaus, what this truly means. And you said it, Mandy, with having faith, even though you can't see it, to keep going. That is a beautiful moment. So I guess if you're looking for an exorcist moment, this is not your place. But if you're looking for a deep spiritual connection, I think to self and then to, well, I don't even know if we can call it the other side anymore. I don't know what we should be calling it anymore.
I don't know. There is a bridge. You are crossing to the other side at least a little bit. Yeah. You know, and I don't know. You know, I mean, what did we just say? You create your own demons. So maybe some people are meant to come have an exorcist experience, and maybe they will have that there. I don't know.
A lot of people, you know, they all have their own experience when they come to the property, but you know, nobody comes to the property and then feels like it's just another day or it's just an ordinary. Like everybody feels something. I don't know anybody that's come out to the property and not had some kind of intense feeling in one way or another.
That's awesome.
I know when we first got out to the property, and we were the only ones there, so we had the whole main campus was empty, and then all the loop and all the houses that we're renovating, there was no one there but us. So with the whole property,
It's got to be a little eerie.
It was definitely a little eerie. And I remember, so I would be like working late at night, you know, so I'd be by myself in some of these places working late into the night. And I remember the first time I worked on the stone house, I decided I was going to set up my wood shop in the basement of the stone house for like convenience. And, you know, I'd have a place there where I could do all the work, you know, I needed to do. And I started setting up my shop there. And I just, like, it felt like somebody else was there and that they were really happy that I was there. They were really happy that I was like creating something that they wanted to be there, you know. And
like an approval. A lot of people talk about feeling a sense of approval there or validation.
It felt like really encouraging that they wanted, you know, and I felt like, you know, I was part of seeing this ultimate mission through, you know, whatever this place is supposed to be, you know. Ultimately we're on one link in that chain of getting it to where it's supposed to be.
Yeah, and it's the same thing for people who maybe can just come and stay for a day or one tour or for a whole weekend. You know, I mean, truly, every dollar is another link in the chain. I mean, to give you perspective, like each building, we had one engineering firm do a bid to renovate one building, and it's the college building, and it came back at $3.2 million, and that's one of, like, you know, 4 really big, expensive buildings. So every person that comes is another chain in the link. I mean, truly. Literally.
And we're finding creative ways to, you know, to get this work done without spending the big dollars that we spend to hire, you know, a professional company to come and do everything for us. So, you know, we're never going to spend $3.2 million on that building, but hopefully we'll have that building restored to a state that it's useful and functional and remains beautiful for the long haul. You know?
Yeah.
So if we want to get the paranormal community, and I know, Mandy, you, me, Rob, and Frankie had thrown a couple ideas out there, and you guys are you seem very open to a lot of, I think, creative ways of getting the paranormal involved, because when paranormal does get involved, when the community gets involved, they do really big things. They really do. And, you know, getting Emmaus out there to be more of a, you know, top build location is going to be our goal for you guys as well. You know, we want all of our network to get out there and help push this out. But what are ways and how can the paranormal, you know, get involved? How can they reach out to you? How would you like them to reach out to you to book their privates or their publics, or how, you know, how do you see that?
Yeah,
so down, and I know you're kind of revamping some things, but
Yeah. So, we had tried some different ideas with the paranormal, and where we're at right now is, Frankie is our right hand man. That's all there is to it. He just finished redirecting our website. It's Emmaus Asylum. Yeah, EmmausAsylum.com. And, all the contact information is there. The booking information is there. Anybody's welcome to look us up. The info email does come to all of us. So, we will get that. You can Google us. Probably every piece of public or information that we have is probably public. Call, text, email, Facebook, whatever. Reach out in whatever way. We really are open-minded. We really are open arms. We're welcoming. We want you to come, and we're about as down to earth as it gets. So however anybody wants to come, show up. All day, every day, we have people driving by, and they just stop and pull on the campus, and that's how they connect. So yeah, but the main way in terms of paranormal would be EmmausAsylum.com.
I have thoughts already. We'll talk.
Yeah.
For other people's thoughts.
Yeah, we got to get in there. So, and then how do you, so here would be, though, to me, this would be maybe the a little bit more challenging. So how do you sort of connect your day? They're not just there during the day, but how, people who are living there, people who are making that their home, how do you get them comfortable with bringing in the paranormal people?
They are, everybody who is living there understands the magnitude of what needs to be done to make this work. So, some people think it's awesome and great. Other people are like, yeah, I don't do paranormal. It's just not my thing. But everybody's open and everybody is receiving. And mostly the people who are living there, they keep to themselves, especially at night. There's a lot of daytime activity all over the property, but at night, everybody kind of goes to their own homes and does their own thing. And that's when the campus really opens up to paranormal, and paranormal people have a really unique experience. They can come in and it's just them, or at least it feels and seems that way. And then the residents and people who are working for us, they participate a lot in the fundraising activities, and that's kind of how they plug in. So we've had some fundraising that's kind of, brought together paranormal and non-paranormal. And yeah, I don't know if I'm answering your question, but
no, I think it's, because I think, again, this is, you said, the word is resident. So you've got your living residents, and then you have your residents from the past, right? So how do they, when you start bringing in, and, once Emmaus pops off, right, and it sort of becomes the destination, how do you sort of keep the living residents to feel comfortable with what's happening on campus?
Honestly, I think that the living residents are absolutely so emotionally invested as well, that they are just, and like I said, they really, you can't not realize the magnitude of what this is going to take. Yeah, and they're not. And the paranormal part was really on this commercial portion, and the residential portion is on the outskirts.
Okay.
So, they're just completely understanding because they're that emotionally invested, and B, they're in their own area, So.
And there's a physical separation. So, like where the paranormal investigations are happening, it's not like there's actually people living in those spaces. Mm-mm. Yeah, they're totally separate.
Those buildings are not habitable at all. So.
Okay. All right. Cool. Well, I like, the more we learn of Emmaus, the more, to put, well, we had Mandy's face to it. Now to add Ben's face to this, right? To see the human side of the paranormal. And I think all too often the human side that we see is the social media piece, and it's an unfortunate look into humanity. It's not the beautiful part of humanity. So to be able to have, for myself, and I know Rob, to be able to, have you two here along with Franki to bring it back to the paranormal and what it could mean for the living. I know, who's this Franki dude, right? This is, to me, this is a big step, and this is what I will always work for, is to have these moments, because, the expose shows, they're all covered. We want the human piece and what these experiences truly mean. And to me, I love the stories of those that are coming from the past, to tell their stories again. However, this truly is about the land and the location, period. Right? Like, that's what I really love about, I think, the first time having that call with you, Mandy, it was motivating. It was inspiring to be able to go, okay, wow, like this kind of, because you do, in the paranormal, you have these weird dips, peaks and valleys of interest and passion, and you get so beaten down because you're like, it's just not about the paranormal anymore. It's about who you know, and talking smack on somebody. But to meet you, to hear the story, to see Franki's passion for Emmaus, it was motivating. It was like, wait, no, I love it again. I'm back in. I want to, I want to get back into it. So thank you guys so much for sharing. This is a personal story for both you and Ben, and, to share that with our network. And we'll get to work however we can for you guys. You just say the word, and, we will do our best to help you promote. And, if you guys ever just want to come on a show, we have many shows that we would love to introduce you to, that you can, share your story or whatever you think is important to Emmaus, and to both you and Ben. We would love to be able to offer that to our host and to you. Rob, do you have anything about, Emmaus is just an amazing.
Just the whole story is incredible. Thank you for sharing, because I know sometimes these things that sound outrageous are hard to share, right? But just know there are people out there that have had equally outrageous things happen, and it's like, oh my God, finally there's somebody else. Sorry about my dog.
That's okay.
He's insane. No, I look forward to getting to know you guys, and like Sarah said, we'll do anything we can do to possibly to help. And yeah, thanks for sharing all that. It's really, really cool story.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's funny you mentioned it. I was going to tell you, thank you so much, because you hit the nail on the head. Like, we don't have anybody to talk to about this. We know nobody in the paranormal field. And I'm going to tell you the stories that I told you tonight. I've told very few people, because they're ready to, speaking of an insane asylum, they're ready to check you in when you tell those stories. And, there's just not. So I'm grateful, and I appreciate you, even for just listening at the very least. Thank you so much. And we are so excited to hear and move forward in any way. Thank you.
And, I second that, thank you very much. And, one thing that Franki has brought recently is that I think last year we were trying to be a little too cautious and maybe too restrictive. And now we really want as many people as possible to experience Emmaus and see what it's all about, and come out and just have your own everybody has their own experience, but we really are wanting to get as many people that want to come out to be able to come out and experience it.
Yep.
Well, you're the living testimony of Emmaus and its message of keep the faith even when you can't see it. You both had situations, you kept your faith. It brought you to a location, and you believed it, and you went with it, and you, even when you had a single dollar, you said, not going to stop me from doing this auction. If that is not faith, if that is not the very definition of faith, I don't know what is. And I think this is where I'm hoping that as investigators and researchers, we can maybe take out a little bit of the harshness and needing these hard lines for belief, because we don't always need a hard line to believe. Sometimes we just need that very unseen faith to keep going that next step, because you don't know. That hard line's probably somewhere. Hopefully it's not when we actually die.
Right.
But that hard line is somewhere. And, maybe it's time to stop picking at everybody's stories they share and say, maybe I shall go to a place like Emmaus and just see what's in store for me. Right, Jason McRae? Yeah. Oh, he will be there. He's coming in from Canada.
Canadians in Missouri, Jason. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah,
got their own set of rules.
This might have to be a convoy. Maybe we'll do a Get Haunted get traveling all the way to Missouri. We'll get maybe like a convoy of some RVs or something, and we'll all come out to Emmaus.
We actually accept we accept RV camper travelers. We have we don't have a place where you can hook up just permanently, but we have dumps and water refills. We also have a building that could host a small retreat. So come on, if you guys can come, we will accommodate you.
We're coming. And maybe we'll bring Jason's an author, so maybe we'll bring Jason out, and Jason and Rob will create some kind of story, and we'll write a book together.
I would love it. Everybody, we got you guys covered. Come on.
Well, I'm so excited to learn more about Emmaus. And, again, everybody go. I will put out all the links you're going to want to follow right there on the network. Their website,
Frozen,
which is on the, it is in the description. I know it's because I'm getting sassy back here.
She was flailing.
Am I back? Okay. So I know I'm flailing my hands, but I will make sure all the links are out there. Ask your questions, folks. And as soon as you see me posting in the network, what I need is for the Get Haunted Army to go to work. We need to get this information out there, spread it. You know how to do it. My favorite thing is to hear this. I can't open social media without seeing, and I think Franki even said that about the Rock Island Esoteric Expo. Yeah. He's like, I couldn't open up social media without seeing it. So guess what?
That was when he was in love with me, but didn't want to admit it.
That's right. But now, and you know what, Stephen Kometz, you were one of the first people. We actually talked about you and this location. So Stephen, digging deeper, paranormal, this is a location for you. So I'm telling you, we've got lots of people that this will absolutely benefit and help benefit this amazing location of Emmaus Asylum. So we are going to do it, folks. We're going to set social media on fire with the word. So get ready. When you see the posts, start sharing them out. So yeah, guys, Ben, Mandy, Franki, thank you so much. Thank you for being a part of our circle now. Hopefully we can all play nice, right, Franki? We're going to continue to play nice.
We're going to fight them, but it'll be a friendly fight.
It'll be a friendly fight. But with that, you guys know what we always say here on Paranormally Blonde. We see you. We do. We certainly appreciate you. Thank you so much for being the good in the paranormal community. And with that, we love you. All right, folks, go have an amazing rest of your Monday night. Have a great start to your week. Don't forget 22-day challenge is out there. Tomorrow is day number 11 if you're following. And with that, we'll wish you a good night. Peace.
Stick around for a minute.